Hi guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. You might know that I'm Mrs. B, I'm an art teacher and I pretty much just love all things art. And I'm here to teach you lots of fun things to do with drawing, painting, clay, all that fun stuff. And today it's mainly a drawing and painting task. It's fantastic for any kids around the age of 7. And today we're creating something that looks like this. This has quite a few different steps, but it's super fun and it's actually a lot easier than it looks. And I think it's really effective and colourful. So come with me today. Make sure that you like, comment and subscribe so that I can continue to make art videos for you. And let's have some fun making a rocket ship together. What you'll need for this out of this world task today is a piece of black paper, a piece of white paper. Today I'm working with A4, but normally I actually would work with A3, a little bit larger, so it just depends on what you have. You'll need some watercolours and some brushes and water to paint with, as well as some glue and scissors to cut with, and also some chalk pastels. If you don't have chalk pastels, you could use actual chalk or just regular pastels, even textures. So grab your materials, and the first thing we're going to do is use some watercolours. So I would do this task with probably any student or child over the age of 6 or 7. I find this task is great, particularly for the younger kids, because it has so many steps and it keeps their attention going, because it's not just the same thing for a really long time. Kind of need to stop and start and change it up a little bit, so it keeps them interested and engaged. The first step is our outer space background. So I need my black outer space piece of paper, and what could you imagine might be on my black paper here? If we're doing an out of this world, outer space kind of scene, what do you think you might see? Stars? Well, hopefully that's what you were thinking, because that's what I was thinking. So what you need to do is grab some watery paintbrush and get lots of white watercolor on your brush. Make it really, really, really painty. We don't want it too watery, really get that paint on there. And I'm going to actually flick some stars onto my work. I'm not going to paint them because that might be a little bit messy. I'm actually going to flick and make it a little bit more random and organic. So what you do here, and I teach this to my kids, is you can use one finger and you're going to flick up. All right, you're going to move your finger toward yourself like that. If I did it the opposite way, like that, where's the paint going to go? Psh, right into my face. And I don't really feel like looking like a starry night today. So what I'm going to do is use my finger to flick up toward me. You ready? Flick, flick, flick. Isn't it beautiful? This step doesn't take very long at all, as you can see. You can keep going as long as you want. You could even choose to use some other colours to sort of make it look a little bit like a galaxy, but as you can see, we're sort of just filling our plain black with some spotty, starry night sky. There, you might have a little bit of a watery finger, but that washes off pretty easily. So we're going to leave this to dry. Make sure your name is on the back, and we're going to move on to step number 2. This time I need my white piece of paper. For step number 2, we are going to design a rocket ship. That's right. We need to make a space shuttle. We're going to paint it in watercolors, cut it out and stick it onto our starry night sky. When drawing a rocket, we need to consider some of the things a rocket needs. You could choose to look at some images from the internet to help you, but I'm just going to go by memory for now. We're going to draw our rocket nice and big on our page. If we make it too small, then it's not going to take up much of our background, and we're going to have mostly sky, which isn't a great composition, and it's going to make things really, really difficult when it comes to painting. So I'm going to try my best to take up as much of my page as I can. And this is something I always tell my students. So a rocket, when I think of a rocket, I think of sort of a pointy, almost like an almond shape. I've done another lesson in the past using a rocket as the subject. That time was a collage and a drawing lesson. So if you just love outer space, you might want to go back and find that lesson as well, because I think you might enjoy it. But I've just started with kind of like a football shape, but this side sort of has a straight end. You can make your rocket look however you want, and I actually encourage the students in my classroom to make their rocket look different to mine, because it's all about creativity and using the imagination that's in your brain, not mine. Now, something that a rocket needs is definitely sort of the launches. And I always love watching all the fire that comes out the bottom of the rocket, and that's what helps it shoot up in the air. So I'm going to draw some rockety fire coming out the bottom. Now, I find rockets normally, I don't really know the name of the different areas, so if you're a bit of a space enthusiast, you could write some of the names or areas of the rocket that I don't know the names of. But I think we probably need a door to get in, don't you? And it's normally sort of made of metal, so I'm sort of going to do some different details here. I might even draw myself. Notice I'm doing a nice big window because I'm going to draw myself inside as an astronaut. Here I am. Hello, I'm smiling. Oh, I've got another eye. I might even be waving to everybody. Hello, I'm in outer space. What are you doing? All right. So personalize your work. Draw yourself as an astronaut. That's pretty awesome. And I'm going to draw an Australian flag because that's where I'm from. So I'm going to say that Australia has built this rocket. We're going to the moon. Okay, there's some different details. Now you can add as many details as you want, but for now, I might just draw some buttons. But for now, I feel like this is probably enough because remember, we need to also paint it. Now, something we also need, and something I forgot to let you know that you'll need, is a permanent fine liner. So this is just the size of a pen. You could also use a Sharpie if you like. I get these from Zara and they're really cost effective. They sell them in like bulk packs, but they're fantastic because they're permanent, which means we can use watercolor with them. So if you use a fine liner that is not permanent, you're going to find when you use watercolors, it just bleeds and disappears, and that would be a real shame. Let me get one that works. So to complete my rocket, I'm going to very carefully outline the lines that I want to keep. Some of the lines were a little bit of a mistake, but that's not a big deal. I just won't draw over them. This sort of locks in our design because you cannot rub it out. Just means that this part also needs to be really, really neat. So I'm joining up all my lines here. Can you see? We need to really take some care, take some time. Please don't judge my Australian flag. I know it's not excellent. Here we go. There's the Southern Cross on the Australian flag, which is a constellation out in the sky that you can see at night. It tells you that you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Cool. There's my spaceship. Now I'm going to take the time to rub out my grey lead so I can't see it anymore. Learning to not press too hard when you're originally drawing will really help with this step. It will mean you'll just be able to rub out your grey lead much, much easier. It's looking cool. All right, now for the fun part. We are going to go ahead and add some color using my beautiful watercolors palette here. And for me, I'm all about making things nice and bright, so I don't necessarily feel the need to paint it a silver or a plain color. I'm gonna have fun with color today and have a go at adding as much color as I can. Ta-da! There we go. So now for the third step, we're going to create some planets, and that's what we need our chalk for. So I have found a couple of things around the house or around the classroom that are circular. That's going to help us with making a nice circle planet. I'm just going to trace my masking tape there. You can see I've made a perfect circle. You can make all different sizes. We're just going to use the paper we've already got. We're going to have some nice and close up. We'll have some far away. Let me trace this again. But just use the remainder of your paper to draw 3 or 4 planets. Now we're going to use our chalk to colour it in. I suggest colouring side to side. So I'm going to colour like this. This will work with just regular chalk as well, or if you prefer, you can just use normal pastels or just colour them in with whatever materials you have. So notice I'm colouring in the same direction, and then this is the cool thing about chalk, you can sort of use your finger to smudge and blend your chosen colours together. And it kind of makes it look a little bit spacey. Now the fourth and final step is just to cut everything out and stick it onto our Starry Night background. I just want to take a little moment to talk about workmanship. Notice that on this side I've had a go at cutting around my crazy kind of zigzag fire lines, and on this side I haven't. So obviously this one takes a little bit longer and a lot more effort. However, I'm much prouder of this, and when I stick it onto my black background, it will look a lot neater than if I were just to leave it like this. So please make sure you're taking your time and really focusing and spending the effort to finish off your work to the best of your ability. So I'm going to take my time to cut this out too. And same goes with the planets. If I'm not taking my time, I might not be able to cut along the line of the circle very well, and then they won't really look circular like planets are. So that's why it's super important to slow down and take your time. There we go. I've got my spaceship, I've got my planets, I've got my starry night sky, and now it's just arranging where everything's gonna go. I didn't have enough room on my paper, so some of my planets are cropped, but it just means I'll put it up on the edge of my paper. Ta-da!
So it's as simple as that. I really hope you enjoyed it today. Make sure you check out all my hundreds of other videos because there's so many to choose from, and feel free to check out my socials. That's where you can contact me, and also send me any photos of some of the things that you've done with my lessons. I'd love to see. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.